Welcome back, everybody, to Simplexity Analytics Seasonal Report for March of 2025. This month, we have a few markets that are the most bullish, and that's cocoa and the Mexican peso. And we have three markets that are the most bearish, and that's coffee, sugar, and the Japanese yen. So we will cover in depth this month the Mexican peso on the bullish side. We'll do sugar on the bearish side. And as always, we are going to cover the S&P E-minis for March as well. And first up, we're going to have a look at the sugar market. The month of March is the most bearish month of the year for sugar. It has finished higher than it has opened only 31% of the time and has lost almost $23,000 on the long side. But if this is a bearish market, we're going to take short trades, so that means that turns into a 69% trade and a $23,000 profit. So if you look at the seasonal indicator at the bottom, we see that when March comes in, along comes a big seasonal decline to follow. But as the years has gone by, we see that that big decline that we saw a few years ago has been less the last couple of years, and that is because the price in the last couple of years actually saw a rally in March. A couple of years ago, a modest rally. 2 years ago, a big rally as March kind of went. Actually, March is mostly sideways, and towards the end of March we saw a rally. And then last year we saw a modest rally for March, and then it dropped off. So let's have a look and see how the seasonal heat map for March looks for sugar. And the seasonal heat map for sugar has one single solitary light green day. But other than that, we are all red every week. And really, there is no stronger area in the month because we have bright reds in every single week. I guess if we had to choose, it'd probably be the second week here where we have a little bit more bright reds, I guess. But even still, this is an entire month worth of bearish short trades in sugar. Next up, we're going to have a look at the Mexican peso market, a market that doesn't get talked about very much, and I think that's largely due to the fact that it moves in $5 increments, and the dollar values can be quite low, but to counterbalance that, you just take more contracts and you end up around the same as other currencies. So March is the most bullish. 78% of Marches finish higher than they open. Again, the dollar values are a little bit low because it's a low valued commodity. But if we look at this seasonal indicator here, this gave me some pause when I first looked at it because I'm like, well, wait a minute. How come March is the most bullish, but we're showing a big decline in the month of March every year? Well, if we look a little bit closer, the end of March comes in about here, where we start to see it close to the bottom. And here, same thing. Actually, the second week of March is when it hits the bottom and rallies from there. Last year, there's the, say, second week of March, and then it hit a bottom and went from there. So we'll have a look at the heat map and see if we see a correlation between the middle to late March and see if that's better than the beginning. And here's that heat map for the Mexican peso. And yes, we see some correspondence between the seasonal chart that we just looked at and now the heat map. The first week of the month, nothing. No bearish or bullish. In fact, no bearish at all in the entire calendar here for the month of March. No reds at all. And then we get some bright greens and we have some 5-day holds that occur in the last week of the month, which is where we showed that bottom occurring in the Mexican peso. And these 5-day holds are both at 91%. The first one here on March 25th is actually the best one of the year, and then the one the next day is the fourth best of the year. So there's a very good area for being bullish and looking for buy signals in Mexican peso. Also, if we look at a lot of these percentages here in the third week of the month, we have a number of them over 90%. We have 21-2 record, 20-3, 21-2. And again, I'm disregarding the dollar values because you can increase the dollar values by increasing your contracts. But I would say start having a little bit of a look at the Mexican peso in the second week, but then start to get really serious about longs and bullish trades in the third week of March, and then looking for a little bit of a hold for longer term as well, because we have 5-day holds coming in on the last week of the month too. And our monthly look at the S&P E-minis. March is the third most bullish month of the year, so it's a pretty decent month for stocks. 68% of the months finished higher than they opened. Has made quite a bit of money too, $31,000 in the back test. The seasonal indicator shows March being a little bit choppy, actually, as we start off with a dip followed by a rally. Each of the years showing the same thing, although the last couple of years has been a little less intense than it was a few years ago. And price-wise, we see that March comes in, we see a decline, then it rallied into April. Each of the last 2 years prior to last did the same thing. Last year, it did nothing but rally for the entire month of March. So let's see how the heat map corresponds to this. Not much going on in the S&P E-minis for the first 3 weeks of March. We see a little bit of selling pressure and some bearishness here in the very first week, and then we have basically nothing for 2 weeks. And then finally in that third week, where remember on the seasonal chart, we had that little blip down and then it started to rally. Well, this is showing those rallies now on the heat map. And we also have a 5-day hold that's a decent one, 78%. It's been 18 and 5 in 23 years and almost just under $1,000 in each one of those years. In terms of the winning percentages down here, we're pretty decent. We have all above 80 and a few above 90. And in the following week, we have a 95% trade. This is trading day of the month number 21. 21st trading day of the month of March has been 95%. Over the last 20 years, it's 19 and 1. So this is a very good area. Start paying attention here. I would even start paying attention on the Tuesday, in case we get a turnaround Tuesday trade where we see a market decline on the Monday and then we tend to rally on the Tuesday. And that could be the catalyst to set up a nice trade with a little bit of holding power, since we have a 5-day hold here as well, and then we can maybe hold that into April. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you're notified on our next videos. Simplexity Analytics, making complex trading simple.